What's up? How you doing? Welcome to Deaf Woke. I'm your host, Antoine Hunter, also known as PurpleFireCrow. Yes, I'm so excited to be here. Today, July 8th, 2021. Wait a minute. July 8th. Wait a minute. Wait a minute, let me think. Why is that date? And what about that date? Wait a minute. Last year, during July of 2020, actually the 7th, that was our first episode of Deaf Woke. So that means we just eclipsed 1 year. It's 1 year of hosting Deaf Woke. Woo! Come on, let me see that. Woo! Woo! This is the 20th episode, and I'm very honored to continue these episodes. But why? Why did Deaf Woke become a thing? Well, during COVID, how do we get information related to health, education, Black Deaf history? I didn't have all the answers. So during COVID, having a lot of time to think, we developed this platform. We needed to wake up to see that the people are here. We don't want to allow the people to disappear, but to support each other. Their love, their wisdom, understanding, compassion. So thank you for all who've come to watch today. Now, I would like to acknowledge the land I stand on here in Oakland, California, the land of the Ohlone tribe, also known as home of the Black Panther. Now, my visual description: got milk chocolate skin, brown, got it from my mama, ebony locks. Soon, we're I think it's about 3 feet now. I got a bushy beard, gray shirt, t-shirt with a yellow emblem stating hashtag Deaf Woke. And I have a red background. So thank you so much for being here. And I have my 2 fabulous interpreters. Come on, let's see them. Oh, come on, do the Cabbage Patch. Come on. 1 year, come on. Yeah. Thank you so much for your endless support. Thank you for being part. Much care. This is Jay. This is our interpreter, Kaylee. Big love to you. Yeah. Ooh, you see that? Yeah. 1 year. What a blessing. We have a fabulous, fabulous guest today. We have
June Alsobrook, coming from Georgia, has 3 kids, living in Jessup, Georgia, which is pretty close to Savannah. Growing up, she went to the Savannah Oral School, and she was a part of that mainstream school. Now, in her career, she is studying Black history and segregation. Whew. She's involved in NAD, the National Association for the Deaf. She's focusing on legal assistance. Ooh, she is talented. Supporting the community around her, focusing on sociology, and currently attending a university. She's a proud parent to a daughter and son, and member of the deaf community.
She's successful in many languages, being part of engulfed in deaf history. She's such a rich background, a story to share. And she's all about service. She also serves as a deaf interpreter through her state, region, and the country. She's valuable and irreplaceable resource. And it is an incredible honor to have Miss June. So please, welcome Miss June Alsobrook.
Hello.
Hey.
Thank you for having me.
It's such an honor. I'm so blessed to have you here. First question, man, how are you?
I'm good. I'm good. Wow. Overwhelmed by this. This is amazing.
Wow, Georgia, huh? I don't know if I've been to Georgia in a long time. What's the weather like?
Oh, it's nice. Beautiful weather.
We kind of rattled off a lot of things that you've been doing. There's so much power that you have. Your rich life, education, you're an actress. You know, we went into what was the future, but let's go back a little bit. Let's go back to time. Is Georgia the same as it was many years ago as it is today?
Well, like you said, I did grow up in Georgia. You know, it's my home. It's my roots. It's the community that I was raised.
Now, we had mentioned that you attended a few different schools. You know, what's, one of the highest barriers, kind of one of the biggest barriers that you've encountered attending a deaf school or a predominantly hearing school? Was education easy for you? Was it a struggle? What was your education like?
Well, I did attend a deaf school. At first, I was in a public school, and it was pretty nerve-wracking, the social aspect of it, you know? There just wasn't that commonality that I found, and it had some more challenges, you know, even just the way that the classroom was situated. I felt as though I learned more in that environment, which is interesting.
You'd mentioned that you had experienced segregation. That's wild. So, you know, what was segregation like? You know, I've heard stories from, you know, predominantly hearing community, but I haven't heard a personal experience from a deaf person. What was that experience like?
Well, at the residential school, the deaf school, that was segregated, and it wasn't necessarily something that I thought about, you know? I grew up in the deep South, in the, you know, edges of the country, and when I was sick, I had to actually, go to the white school, the predominantly white school, and when I saw that, that's when I noticed, you know, that the predominantly white school lived near the town, whereas the segregated black school, you know, was more rural. You had to walk 2 or 3 miles to get to the town to get to any sort of resources.
You know, being black and having experienced segregation, you know, as a deaf person, did you get access to anything, or were you, you know, was that segregation
Nothing, nothing, truly nothing. You know, today when I look back on it, it was like a prison, you know? There's truly nothing provided. You know, it was like I was living in Cowtown, you know, the surrounding, you know, agricultural land was around me, and that's what I was all around, but nothing was really provided.
What'd you have to do to keep your hopes alive?
Well, you know, really when I first started school, I didn't really have an education because I started off with the oral method. And in public school, I was illiterate, you know, I didn't have the reading and the writing skills. So when I first started to learn how to write, that's also when I was interacting with the deaf students every day. And on Sundays, you know, would go to church, Monday school, and Saturday, you know, was just there wasn't anything scheduled. So it was just, you know, cleaning, and really that was it. So there wasn't really a lot of motivation, you know, externally. I had to foster that myself. So when I started to learn, you know, reading, and the older I got, the more curious I got of what does this mean? What does that mean? And I became an avid reader.
What's one of the books, you know, what's a salient book that you can recall?
There was one when I was in the deaf school, and it was called something, The Spot. Do you remember what that book was? I was reading through that, and I just got so excited. So I read that book cover to cover. And that was really what started it off for me.
Wait, I think some people may have missed the title of that book. Let's make sure we give our audience. So the title of that book, what was it again?
It was Dick and
Spot. Yeah.
And that was, I think I was in first grade. And that was what finally just light bulb went off. And I enjoyed it so much.
Yeah. So that first book, it ignited you. You know, you got that, and you just had that explosion. You know, segregation, not having access. You know, you just, you didn't pity yourself. You just got together. You got it right. You got yourself right, and you just carried on. Now, did you have a role model that you?
Yes, absolutely. My father, he would call the school looking for me. And he was definitely, somebody that I looked up to. When I was a young girl, there's also someone that I called Nanny. And she was, with me a lot of the time, somebody that I looked up to. Someone that really, taught me right from wrong. And when I went off and, did something that I wasn't supposed to, she let me know. And when I acquired sign language, that's when things started to shift. And I learned Black Sign Language, BASL. And so we would, talk and have conversation. And she was white. She, didn't recognize the importance of Black Sign Language and kind of oppressed that part of me, and thought that I wasn't intelligent.
Yeah, right. It's that real language, right? Our natural language, not the language that was taken away. It's that authenticness, that attitude. It's like this sign that's like word. Now you'd mentioned your father. I know that's amazing. You know, who's your father?
My father was very active and really looked for someone that could be a role model for me. And I really appreciated that, When I was a young girl, we would go to different meetings and lectures, and I would just sit there. And my father was so proud just to be a part of that. And I would sit right next to him. And I would say, yep, this is my dad. This is my daddy. My mother was home, but this is my daddy right here. I made sure nobody bothered my daddy. I always used to say that. My mama's home. Meaning that, don't bother my daddy because he's got a wife at home.
Right. Sometimes you had to check people.
Yep, steer your distance. And so my dad really instilled a lot in me.
Oh, so your father was a leader in the church. He was a leader in the community. And that is critical to be a leader. You gotta be courageous.
Yeah, I never saw anyone speak ill of my dad. And when people didn't realize that I was his daughter because, we didn't I look a little bit different, but no, this is my dad, same last name, but people didn't recognize because I was deaf that I was his daughter.
Yeah, people, how you carry yourself out in the community is important.
Right. And growing up, I was a trouble girl.
What do you mean?
Well, being the child of a preacher. I was just curious about life and wanted to have fun, and wanted to lay that innocent girl aside and be adventurous, you know?
Some people, parents are quite strict. As a leader, you got to really be that strict. You got to set down the rules, and then you test those boundaries. You're young, but our leaders try to keep you safe, and you are a huge leader in the community. You became a deaf interpreter. How did you get involved in becoming a deaf interpreter, and why?
So I became a DI because, we have Black, deaf people in our community. Most people that, I interviewed and that I spoke with are 70, 80, 90 years old. And when I was working at the Deaf Institute, there was one boy who was African, but he didn't understand the language, sign language. And so I was helping to facilitate that communication. And being deaf and a part of the church, I was helping those members to understand what was being said. I was facilitating an interpretation there.
So that's how you started, in just different facets of your life.
Right. Just got out in the world and, interpreted different areas of work and really just tried to match the environment that I was in.
Some people may be curious or confused on what BSL is. Do you mind, you're going to give us an example?
Yep. I'm going to give you an example. Let me think of one. Let me see if I wrote one down. I wrote one down today. Oh, bathroom. Okay.
Okay, bathroom.
So this is the old sign for bathroom.
Oh.
Yeah, this is what the older population typically uses. We have the current sign for children. Well, this is how it was signed in the BASO. So it could be like, stop. Hey, you child, stop it. Being bad.
No, I'll try to be a good. I'll try to be a good child. Yeah.
There was also, the sign. The sign used to be on the front of the mouth, and now it got moved to the side where your cheek is. That sign got.
So yeah, BSL is important. We don't want to lose that history. So BASL, why should we, reserve that?
Well, this is our language. Why do we have to concede to what the white community wants, their version? This is our language, and we shouldn't allow it to be oppressed. This is our language, and It shouldn't have to be shared. It shouldn't have to be forced to change. It shouldn't have to accommodate. A lot of white people make fun of our language and our sign. And that's why so many times the Black deaf community is reserved in using our natural language. I remember the first time, I met a white girl. We became friends. And she wanted to go out of town, meet more deaf people, go out to eat.
School food. Yeah, the school food was just terrible. So we went out downtown to get some really good food.
And so I was saying, oh, this is like not tasty. This is wet and not tasty. And so I was using my own signs.
Oh,
she thought it was towel.
Yeah, this is a sign for towel.
Right, but I was signing it differently. Because we as Black individuals, we use our mouth more. We, use our face more for that expression. And so, she taught me some sign and I taught her some sign, and we exchanged, those cultural and linguistic differences.
There are so many signs, that here in Oakland that we use. And sometimes, you go into a lecture and you find, somebody using sign language, and you don't realize that it's different. And it's something that's just natural. And it's something I didn't realize, wondering why my sign language was different. And, I was blown away when I realized what my natural tendency, over the period of time, I adapted. But yeah, there's so many signs that you're sharing with us today. The sign for child or towel. Yeah.
I have a very long list. My mentor and I, we wrote down and jotted down a lot of them. I think there was over 200 different sign variations. Ones that just kept coming to me. Oh, I would be chatting with someone. Oh, saw a sign, and I would write them down.
Oh, that's fantastic. You guys are coming together, really sitting down and making this into something that could be a book. Yeah.
That's the goal, the book.
Are you going to teach a workshop? Something that can be added,
Yes, I did teach a while ago. I did have some courses about some Black ASL, and I was chatting with one gentleman, and he said, does Black Deaf ASL have?
Oh, in Georgia?
Well, right now we don't have it in Georgia. It shut down. The Deaf Club. So it was something that we used to have, and we no longer have that as the means to continue our Black sign language in our natural conversation, because that's where I was teaching. And without that, I haven't been teaching my Black ASL. But he said, no, I'm, human, not Black, not white, and I want to just learn a language. And so he came and started socializing with, all of the people there and learned some more of that language.
Amen. You know, we need to be who we are. There's no need to change our language. We're rooted here. Our clothes, our fashion, our food. Uh, uh, what we're doing is good.
Yes, I mean, we still, eat our own food. Black people, we make and eat our own food. But when it comes to language, that has been, oppressed, and we need to be proud of it and hold on to it.
Yes. Yes. You know, I mean, if you know, I mean, it's not hard to think that if we're gonna lose our language, we can lose our food. We can't lose our food, man. I mean, those are the type
Right.
of food you don't invite back to the barbecue. So there's so many people involved in the National Black Deaf Advocacy. Are you involved in that organization?
Oh, yes, yes. I used to be heavily involved. But now, well, I haven't been regularly attending NBDA in a minute.
You mentioned segregation. You know, there's segregation with the hearing world. You know, the deaf black world. Sometimes we feel segregated still. So the National Association of the Deaf, did they have a law that they banned ASL or black people to be involved in the NAD?
Yeah, I don't remember the name of it, but I did hear that there was.
Right, and that kind of inspired us to create our own. Is that right?
Yeah, NBDA was created in 87, late 80s. Because we felt, why isn't there a Black organization? Why aren't we involved? Because we weren't having a seat at the table, and it wasn't an environment that we felt comfortable in. So they set up NBDA.
Right. So it didn't resonate. You know, interesting. But it's critical that we find our own place. You know, a place for all people. You know, a place that you can attend that you may or may not feel comfortable, but that you can find your own calling. You know, like you're DI, you're teaching ASL. What else do you do? I mean, what does your look like? You know, what do you do every day?
Well, with COVID, that definitely had an impact. But, I've been working on some Black history presentations. I've been interpreting.
No, encouraging
and encouraging others to learn how to become skilled interpreters, skilled signers. That's what I've been doing.
Is it Black Deaf history or Black history in general?
So far, I've been focusing on Black history and Black Deaf history. No. Yep, Black Deaf history and Black interpreters as well.
I heard you like to perform. Yeah, love running.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, you're an athlete, yeah? You like running track?
Well, I do have pretty bad asthma. I've had it since I was a child. And I wanted to join a sport, but they said that I couldn't because of my asthma. And so my coach was very concerned about, my involvement. And so I just started with walking, taking laps. And I would do that about 4 times, lap after lap after lap. And then finally, my lungs, began to have more capacity, and my asthma had less of an impact. And so then I started cheerleading. I also started with baseball. Oh, and the interpreter misunderstood, with basketball. I started with basketball and with baseball.
So do you dance as well?
Well, I that during that time, I also had the drums, that drum where you have the stand-up drum and you hit it from the side. I also did that.
So you're still working out, huh? I see. So you're keeping in shape, keeping up your health, just really engrossing into the history. And I know you're deaf, you're Black, and you are Black history. So I think it's time to test your knowledge with the little game.
Well, I hope I know some.
So the name of this game is Name These People.
I'm going to try.
Okay. So this is what we'll do. You can either name the individual. You go ahead and figure spell their name, or maybe name what they do. What is it that their craft is?
Okay, I'm going to try.
Okay, game on. So visual description, a picture of an African-American female appears in her honey short curly hairstyle, wears a gray blouse with a short necklace of diamonds, matching to her hair, pair of diamond stud earrings, smiles at the camera. Who is she?
Oh, she is a lawyer, Black deaf lawyer, Claudia.
Yep, Claudia. Claudia is the first deaf Black female attorney in the United States. She currently works in the U.S. Department of Labor's Office of the Federal Contracts Compliance Program. Woo, good job. All right, off on a good foot. Got the first one. Visual description, a picture of an African-American female appears in a background of several trees, standing with her right hand on her right hip while smiles at the camera. She has a black, long to a shoulder micro locks, has red lipstick on her lips, wears in a white blouse with blue jeans, has a silver bracelet with light blue and navy urban bracelet. Who is she?
Not sure. I don't know. Nope.
Her name is Katrina Raman Stefan.
Oh. Oh my God. Okay, I know who she is. She worked with me. What was she running at the time? I think it was Stacey Abrams. The one that was running for governor? Mm-hmm. Yep. And we worked together on that. Oh, I forgot.
Yeah, she's a Georgian, has called many things: a mother, wife, educator, yoga teacher, daughter, sister, and many more. In 2018, Katrina succeeded to write and publish her first child's book, The Drum with No Sound. A visual description, a picture of an African male appears in his thin black haircut, wears in a gray jacket with a nice pink shirt and black and white striped tie, swing with his arm as he smiles at the camera, looking so happy. Who is he?
His face is familiar, but I cannot recall his name.
He's one of the top people in the NADB.
Oh, yes, president. Oh,
Yes.
he's the president of MBDA. Yes.
Yes.
Oh, see, I didn't remember his name.
Yep, Isadora. Isidore is a native of Austin, Texas, is the president of the National Black Deaf Advocates, has been a champion. Visual description. A picture of an African-American female stands with her arms folded in, has a golden brown bun with a long bang curly hair in front, has long silver earrings matching to her silver diamond short necklace and a charmed silver bracelet on her left hand wrist. Who is she?
Deaf. No. Oh, but she was on TV. She went to my church. Did you know that? She went to my church. I remember. Oh, right. She's a member of my church. Yes.
Her name is spelled Iyanla Vanzant. She's a native of New York City. Is an American inspirational speaker, lawyer, of New Thought spiritual teacher.
Yeah, she goes to my church and she's spoken before.
Yeah, she's an amazing person. Yep, she had her own show, Fix My Life, on OWN, the Oprah Winfrey Network. Visual description. A picture of an African-American female, wears a full black gray perm curly hair, has a pair of brown eyeglasses and a pair of gold hoop earrings, wears a red jacket with a gold necklace and red lipstick on her lips, smiling at the camera. Who is she?
Oh, you'll have to excuse me. What is it? I think she was the first PhD. Dr. Shirley? Dr. Shirley, first PhD, I believe.
Yep, Dr. Shirley Allen. She's proud of her work, advocacy on panels, meetings, at conferences, and helping her students become. She became the first Black deaf woman to earn a doctorate degree at the University of Rochester for her education. She's an incredible person.
And she's very funny as well.
Visual description. A picture of an African-American female, has brown bob cut hairstyle. She has silver eyeshadow on her eyelids, wearing a soft red lipstick and smiling at the camera. Has multi-prints of a black, red, white scarf and a pair of white pearl earrings. Who is she?
Pamela. Her name is Pamela.
Pamela Lloyd.
She used to live in Atlanta.
Ogo, yep. Oh. Native of New York City, currently lives in North Carolina. She has held a variety of visible leadership positions as the executive director of the Disability Rights Center, University of ADA Compliance Officer and Program Administrator. A visual description. A picture of African-American female, appears in a multicolored scarf wrapped around her crowned head, brown circle earrings matching to her orange jacket with a black shirt. A silver piece is pieced of her nose, plum lipstick, lips, a long silver necklace. Who is she?
Her name escapes me. I'm bad with names. No.
Felicia Williams. Yes. Deaf.
Oh, shit. Oh, yeah, I forgot.
At university and studied ASL. Felicia is a mentor and advocate at Gallaudet students of color. Throughout her teaching career, she's selected to provide workshops. So look out for her. We're getting near to the last one. Visual description. A picture of a beige-skinned female appears in her long, thick, flowing black hair to her shoulder, with her hand on her right shoulder, smiling at the camera. Who is she? Bridget Jones. She's a motivational speaker, evangelist, hearing entrepreneur from Riverside, California. Bridget has always had aspirations to work professionally within the entertainment industry as a deaf television host, dancer, and singer. She's involved in the AACP Theater Award for the Best Ensemble. Oh, Bridget won in AACP Theater.
Yes. And at a young age too. That must have been a challenge.
This next beautiful person is of an African American male, sits crossing his arms with long black locks flowing over his shoulder. Who is he? Oh, I know you know him.
Oh no.
It's Mervyn. Primeaux O'Brien. Woo! He's a stunning dancer. He's a comedian from New Orleans, Louisiana. A visual comedian, teacher, artistic performer, director, producer, and writer. Mervyn recently had great shows of Look Through My Eyes in Baltimore, Maryland.
Yes, these are hard to remember for me. You know, I'm older.
Maybe you know her. This is a picture of a picture of a biracial woman with long black curly wavy hair linked to her shoulders, looking at the camera sincerely. Has two different colors of her eyes. One is most brown and the other one hazel green. Who is she?
No.
This is Alexandra Wales. She's an incredible actress. She's a part of Color Girls. She's career spans from Broadway, off-Broadway, TV, film as an actor, director, choreographer, director of ASL. She mostly is in New York, but she travels around the world. Now, this one's a hard one. A visual description of picture of African-American female appears in a black low-cut haircut, wearing a white V blouse. Looks at the camera. Who is she?
Michelle Banks.
You're right.
Woo!
Yeah.
Okay,
Michelle.
I knew that face. I knew that face.
Yeah, she's an incredible actress.
I've met her. Yes.
She's the former artistic director of Onyx Theater. And the director of Visionaries of Creative Arts, also known as VOCA. Last but not least, a visual description of picture African-American female appears in her black, long, curly hair, a jacket with colorful flowers, and a black top. Wears a silver necklace and a pair of hoop earrings. Holds her hand, touching her silver ring, smiling at the camera. Who is she?
Oh, her name. Oh.
She was in X-Men. Known as... No?
No. No.
Well, think.
Oh.
Yeah, Storm. Yeah.
Oh, I knew her name too. Oh, I knew that.
It's Storm Smith. She's a native of Los Angeles, California. Is a creative storyteller. Storm is the first deaf woman to be recruited by Baton, Barton, Durston, and Osborne, BBDO, worldwide. Serving as producer in diversity, inclusion, accessibility lead in Los Angeles for AT&T Mobile and Entertainment. She's fantastic. And I love her energy. She's fantastic, right?
Yes, yes.
All right, you passed. Yeah. Woo-hoo. Woo-hoo. All right, we're not just finished. Now, I don't want to take too much more of your time, but I know the audience is ready to just give a barrage of questions. So, audience, it's your time. Those who are watching tonight, if you have questions, go ahead. Ask away. This segment of the show is called Ask. It's June Alsobrook Anything. One question is, how many years have you been practicing as a DI? You started after high school, yeah? Yeah, in that area.
Yeah. Yeah, I did a few jobs for some, Black deaf people in my community around that time.
Question is, do you think if we stay segregated through education system today, would it make a difference, and why?
I don't think so. I don't think it would make a difference. The world is black and white. It's just not possible.
I agree. So, statement comes after Joseph Hill, Caroline Mescal, and others began to publish work on BASL. Was there a shift in the treatment of Black ASL within the Black community? What about treatment from the white deaf community?
Well, Dr. McCaskill and them, they called on me actually um to speak maybe 2 or 3 years ago. And wow, they were excellent speakers, very motivated, and such a wealth of knowledge on the Black deaf history and Black sign language. I want, the future generation to be able to look up to their work. And so that's when I started, they really motivated me to start, documenting and doing this sort of research.
So I remember when I had an ASL student. I had the teacher at the time was white, and the student said that that they were taught that BASL is not real. And I said, no, 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 no. BASL is real. And so we engaged in a conversation. And so I think it's incredible or it's critical that we show our natural language, BASL.
Yes, but it's important to remember that there are regional dialects. It's not a monolith. It's not each state is the same. There's different variations. Like how I was saying the sign with bathroom. Well, there's other signs as well. Like this also, what looks like a phone meant the sign for bathroom, just as the sign for children was different. And, all of these signs have variations within different regions.
So Alabama.
Yeah,
So this is a sign for
in Alabama,
for Alabama.
I have to go, to the restroom. And so someone not from Alabama might be confused as to what you meant. Well, it meant bathroom, but it was a different sign variation.
Interesting. It's crazy. This is kind of interesting. My way of thinking about what that sign is. So I'm learning a lot today. So the Black deaf schools in Georgia, did they have satisfying equipment and advanced technology?
Not at all. Most everything we got was left over from the white schools. And you knew it because there was already handwriting in the books. They had used the books, and what was discarded was given to us. They got the new equipment. They got the new textbooks. They got everything new firsthand, whereas we got, the second and third passed down.
Oh, so y'all got the hand-me-downs.
Yep, from the white schools. The Black schools never received new textbooks, new equipment. We weren't granted that. We got all of the old things, and I'm trying to think. I think it was 1965 or something like that. When new students would come, they had to, have a new building. But we didn't have any new books, school attire, nothing was new.
So that's why it's incredible, that we should have these role models that are exposed of using BASL. No, not just Georgia, anywhere in America.
There was one woman named Lyle from California. Low Smiley. And I kept in contact. And she was one of my role models that I look up to greatly. Lois was my thick and thin. I'm so thankful. And she was a Black deaf woman that went to Gallaudet but lived in Georgia. Graduated from Gallaudet and ended up moving, and we ended up becoming friends.
Oh, I didn't really know that she was the first deaf Black woman from Georgia to go to Gallaudet. Man, clearly she's a strong individual. I can't believe what she had to deal with to try to suffer through to get through and to get accepted and to attend that school.
She was the only Black deaf woman that I knew that I was able to look up to. I had, my hearing, parents, but she was the first Black deaf woman that I had.
Even today, some people look at Black women and don't see them as valuable, but they are incredibly strong.
Mm-hmm.
So, question for what is your best memories of the good old times?
That would be my school, my days in my Black deaf school. We had each other, and though we didn't have, the new equipments, we had the best of times.
So, audience, continue. If you have any more questions, please ask June. Leave them in the chat box. June is a busy person. This is your time, your opportunity. So I noticed your bio had mentioned that you have children, grandchildren, and you adore them. Is that how you spend your time as today?
Yeah, I always bring my grandchildren, around with me, immerse them in the deaf community. My oldest son is deaf. And so, I introduce them around and just make sure that they're immersed, Show them with love. Some of them are like, "Who's that?" And I'm like, "Oh, that's my son. That's your son." And so that's really how we spend our time. My daughter too signs, and so she will speak, interact as well with them.
Do you still do you teach your children, grandchildren BASL?
I used to, yes. I taught them BASL, and my sister and I, we would use some old signs. Like she would use this sign, and I say, "No, I use this sign, grandmother now. But this used to be the sign for grandmother. Looks like butterfly, but that's what we used to use." And so now, I'll teach them, some signs that have evolved over times. And my sister will say, "But you taught me this sign." Well, the sign has evolved.
How often do you teach BASL? Where can people catch you? Is it private, one-on-one?
Well, most of the time, I use older signs. But when I am around, the white deaf community, I code switch and I use, your mainstream ASL. So I just code switch back and forth. It depends on who I'm talking with. When I'm with, the white deaf people, I use regular mainstream ASL. When I'm with my black deaf people, I code switch and, I use my natural language. And so, I still even use those older signs with my grandkids.
Carla asked, do you have any public engagement scheduled for 2021 for teaching BASL or online courses?
I don't have anything in the works, but, I will. Just nothing's planned yet. Nothing's set in stone. But I will. I want to hone in on my research on segregation right now. And when I get through that, then, I will entertain the idea, but my schedule's pretty strict right now.
Question is, how can students learn about the history of BASL and signs that are currently used?
Well, when I make some videos about that, I will be sure to disseminate them.
Another question is how can non-Black interpreters be learning about BASL in order to offer better access to the community without being inappropriate or offensive?
Well, it depends. You could take a BASL workshop. That would be open to the public, whether you're white, black, So a workshop would probably be appropriate.
So anyone of all shapes, sizes, and colors can attend that type of workshop.
Yes.
Do you think it's important that white students learn BASL?
Yes, for ease of communication. Maybe not be completely fluent in it, but to learn some, absolutely.
It's an interesting perspective. Interesting. Yeah. I think we are on our last stop. It's June. I've learned so much today. What is, during segregation, that experience is something you can never forget. During that time, the boycotts, protests. What's something during the time of segregation that can never be erased?
Well, during that time, I didn't go out to protest because it was scary. It was a terrifying, time because you were subject to punishment, during segregation. Let me give you an example. So we didn't fully, get to interact with students at the white deaf school. But there was a person that made honor roll. And so we were filling out this information to be approved, and I was thrilled. I saw this as a chance. This is my chance for freedom. And so I could have more freedom, you know? I could go into the white school, and I had more freedom to move about. There was 2 people there, and I was walking to the white school one day, you know, and I had just finished eating. And I was walking back to the black school, and I noticed this car come in front of me, and it was my principal. I said, "What are you doing?" And I got so nervous, you know, I was terrified. He said, "Are you all right? You doing okay?" I said, "Yes." "Well, why?" You know, they weren't used to a student having independence. You know, they were used to us, you know, huddled in groups for safety. But because I had that more freedom, you know, I was walking, you know, just me and you know, me, 1 or 2 other people, and so they were checking in, but I thought we were getting in trouble. And so I got so anxious, so nervous, and they were just said, "Are you all right? You doing good? Okay." But even that interaction was terrifying, you know? And just something as simple as walking.
Yeah, walking while black. You know, it's petrifying. You know, having to walk to school, home. No, but you're always paralyzed with fear. You know, it's traumatic. You just seeing a car pull up next to you. You know, you begin to panic.
Right. And then finally, you know, you get used to it.
So what a question came through and that said, what happened to all the deaf teachers when black, deaf, and white deaf schools integrated after segregation ended? Did everyone keep their teaching jobs? So when the schools segregated, did the black teachers, did they keep their jobs?
Well, the white deaf teachers kept their jobs, not the black teachers. I only ever saw the white ones. The black school had black supervisors, but that was it. You know, and not a lot of black teachers got to keep their jobs.
Wow, incredible to imagine what growing up during that time was. Did you wish that you had more of an impact by deaf black teachers?
Well, there was a teaching assistant at the deaf school in Atlanta. And so those positions were encouraged. One teacher during that time had left. And so I made sure that I remembered what I learned from them.
So they, that. So we went to a silent dinner, or I went to a silent dinner. There was 2 white boys who waved, said hi, June. And I was stunned. They were fluent in sign, and it was just that time. They were students, and I asked them about how they were doing, and And they said, yeah, they attended the Georgia School for the Deaf. You know, it didn't happen a lot that, you know, what was now where, you know, there was that transportation to allow the the students to get to deaf school. And just to see that time now, just to see where those students were and where they started was incredible. Yeah, a lot of children don't have leaders to look up to. Yeah, we need Black deaf teachers to empower them, especially, you know, deaf Black boys need that male role model, and I mean, there's none out there. All right, last questions from the audience is, that's an interesting fact about integration that many of us probably haven't considered, that many Blacks lost their jobs. Now, do you think there's a lot of opportunity for deaf Black interpreters, deaf Black teachers? Do you think that there's a lot of opportunities? Do you think it's dwindled? Do you think there's been, you know, an expansion of opportunities compared to back then?
There are opportunities for Black people now, but we need more.
Yes, we need more. Yes.
We need more.
Perfect. Perfect.
Really,
response.
we truly do.
Well, Miss June, I've learned so much from you. Thank you for sharing your story. Do you have any final thoughts, final message that you would like to give to us?
Black people, we need to make some noise.
Amen.
We have to keep going. Keep on making that noise. Cause that disruption.
Yeah. Loud, baby, loud. June, thank you so much. So much for coming. We're honored to have you sharing your story, your history, your life story. Thank you for playing the game with us. I'm really looking forward to your workshop. So for all those who don't know, you can follow June on social media. Her Facebook is at June, ALSOBROOK. Yeah, follow, support. You know, stay tuned to what she's doing in the future.
Also, there's resources for Black history that's in the works, and so those are uploaded there as well.
Yeah, please go to her Facebook, support. She's an incredible human. And until next time.
Thank you, Antoine. Love you all.
Woo! And that was, oh, you're astonishing. Oh, did you go away? That's all right. Wow, that was breathtaking. Ms. June Alsobrook, thank you for sharing your story, who you are. For many Black deaf people, their struggle is not who they are or allows them to get down. They don't allow themselves to disappear. Not losing our own identity. It's not just ASL or the right way. It's about keeping the root of our language, Black culture, Black ASL. Yes, we have deaf culture within the Black culture. Language is beautiful. It's not dirty. It's not stupid. We have a formal as well, formally involved as well. You know, these signs. I think that's children, right? Yeah, yeah. Our children need BASL. We need to protect our children, wrap them with love. Today, I am incredibly grateful for June. She's like teaching us, like she's our grandmother. She's passing it on. So please honor, respect BASL, because it is a real language. It's a real culture. So thank you all for watching. Thank you so much. Thank you, thank you, thank you. So of course, thank you to June Alsobrook, interpreters. Thank you to the audience. Thank you to HowlRound and Drop Labs and you. Thank you for watching. Now come on now, let me see my likes. Let me see my hearts. Come on, where y'all? Come on, let me see them. This was the 20th episode of Deaf Woke and eclipsed 1 year. Mm-hmm. Woo, 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 woo. See this Deaf Woke t-shirt made from Popfish. So thank you. Thank you so much, Popfish. Look at my gear. Y'all want to buy? One little later. But please donate to keep hashtag Deaf Woke going. This platform is not free. There are a lot of funds and costs. So we're trying to have that equity. So thank you. My name is Antoine Hunter, also known as PurpleFireCrow. This has been a blessing. Deaf Woke. Peace. Love. I'm out. Let me put my music on.